Hey guys, so once again we are live here and इसमें एक थोड़ा सा मैसेज भी है फॉर ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स। अभी जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स जो कि एग्जाम के आसपास आके तैयारी कर रहे हैं, तो एक नॉर्मल सिचुएशन होती है कि हमें हमारी प्रिपरेशन पे ट्रस्ट नहीं होता. This is a very common thing that you're preparing and you start wondering about this thing that you're not 100% sure about your preparation level. So I must tell you this thing, this happens to everyone, right? Even when I go for my exams, I get scared. I feel that what if I don't qualify this time, right? So nervousness, getting scared, it's totally all right. It's fine. It is quite human. It makes you human. डर इंसान को जिंदा रखता है, ठीक है. वो काठ के योद्धा होते हैं जो भयभीत नहीं होते, कर्ण ने कहा था. So point is, what makes you keep going is that even if you're scared, you don't give up. तो मेहनत करते रहो, गिव अप नहीं करना है. साथ में अभी हम लोग चलने वाले हैं हमारे टॉपिक पे. जितने बच्चे हैं गूगल ड्राइव बैच के वो देख रहे हैं इसको, ऑफलाइन बैच के जिन बच्चों के लिए हम ये लेक्चर्स शेयर कर रहे हैं वो भी देख रहे हैं. प्लस करेंटली ये लेक्चर्स जो है क्रैश कोर्स के बच्चों को भी हम दे रहे हैं, उनकी हेल्प हो जाएगी. और रिन्यूअल बैच के बच्चे भी हैं. इनफैक्ट जितने क्रैश कोर्स के स्टूडेंट हैं या रिन्यूअल बैच है, आई सजेस्ट यू कि अगर आपको मौका मिलता है क्वालिफाई होने के बाद भी, नेट जेआरएफ होने के बाद भी, अगर आपको लगता है कि हाई लेवल स्टडीज होनी चाहिए, नॉलेज होना चाहिए, तो आप भी गूगल ड्राइव क्लासेस ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. आइए अब चलते हैं आज के टॉपिक पे. हमारा टॉपिक है मॉडर्न लिटरेचर. वी आर डीलिंग विद मॉडर्न एज राइटर्स. मॉडर्न एज राइटर्स. आज जो हम राइटर्स पिक करने वाले हैं वो है जीबी शॉ. बिग राइटर, अराउंड 52 ड्रामाज, 52 ड्रामा लिख चुके हैं. कहते हैं जीबी शॉ इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड द मैन ऑफ लेटर्स. इन्हें मैन ऑफ लेटर्स कहा जाता है. एंड अलॉन्ग विद दीज थिंग्स, दिस मैन is highly celebrated for being a Nobel awardee along with Oscar awardee. The only writer to have a Nobel and an Oscar. How is that possible? See, when he won Nobel Award in 1925, by the same time he also wrote a famous screenplay for a movie, My Fair Lady. He won Oscar award. तो आपसे एक पहला सवाल पूछा जा सकता है कि जीबी शॉ जिन्होंने नोबेल भी जीता हुआ है, ऑस्कर भी जीता हुआ है, तो ही इज द ओनली राइटर राइट नाउ हु हैज वॉन दीज थिंग्स. लेट्स टेक अ रेफरेंस. ही रोट अ फेमस स्टोरी, पिग्मेलियन. इन्होंने पिग्मेलियन लिखा. पिग्मेलियन का खास बात क्या है? दैट दिस बुक वाज यूज्ड एज अ स्क्रीन प्ले फॉर अ हॉलीवुड मूवी. A Hollywood movie is based on this book, My Fair Lady. So please remember, My Fair Lady is the movie based on the book Pygmalion that has won Oscar award. आपसे पेपर में पूछा जा सकता है ऑस्कर अवार्ड किस बुक को मिला था, या जीबी शॉ की किस बुक पे एक ऑस्कर अवार्डी मूवी जो है वो एस्टैब्लिश्ड है या बेस्ड है. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस पॉइंट. साथ में एक चीज और देखनी है आपको, जीबी शॉ का एक गिनीज बुक रिकॉर्ड भी है, और वो गिनीज बुक रिकॉर्ड है 2 लाख से ज्यादा लेटर्स लिखने का. इन्होंने बहुत सारे पॉलिटिकल लेटर्स लिखे थे, पॉलिटिकल लेटर्स, पर्सनल लेटर्स, और ये 2 लाख से ज्यादा हैं. तो आइए चलते हैं जीबी शॉ पे. लेट्स कंप्लीट जीबी शॉ. दीज आर पॉलिटिकल लेटर्स, सोशल लेटर्स, नोटिसेस एंड अदर थिंग्स. नाउ लेट्स गो फॉर दिस मैन एज अ राइटर. जॉर्ज बर्नार्ड शॉ, G.B. Shaw, George Bernard Shaw. Highly famous hai. See, there are some works which are dealing with social issues. There are some works which are dealing with some personal issues. His plays are divided in pleasant plays and unpleasant plays. Pleasant plays are dealing with some happy lifestyle, happy things and all. But the unpleasant plays are dealing with the problem plays, or the reality of societies, problems of society. So if they ask you a question that what are the unpleasant plays by G.B. Shaw? Unpleasant plays, because these plays are actually dealing with reality. These are the problem plays of society. Problem plays. What is problem plays? Dramas dealing with the problems of society. Problem plays. Dramas, plays dealing with the real problems of society are called problem plays. तो एक सबसे पूछा जा सकता है कि problem plays कौन कौन से हैं. Now some of these plays are really good. Some of these plays are taken as a world classic plays. So let's talk about these plays one by one. And if they ask you pleasant play, these are good comic stories, love stories. These kind of stories are the good stories, the pleasant plays. The first and most important play we have is Pygmalion. See, Pygmalion is actually dealing with the use of language. It's a very important, a good story. Pygmalion is Greek myth. ये ग्रीक मिथ पे बेस्ड है एंड पिग्मेलियन माइथोलॉजी का मतलब होता है क्रिएटर फॉलिंग इन लव विद और फॉल्स इन लव विद क्रिएशन। क्रिएशन आपने देखा होगा जैसे कई बार स्पोर्ट्स में होता है, जो फीमेल एथलीट्स हैं वो ट्रेनिंग ले रही हैं, उनको अपने मेल कोचेस से प्यार हो जाता है, शादी हो जाती है, या मेल कोचेस को उनसे प्यार हो जाता है, शादी हो जाती है, क्योंकि वो दे आर थ्रू आउट डेवलपिंग देम, दे आर क्रिएटिंग देम। क्रिएटर फॉलिंग इन लव विद क्रिएशन, दैट इज पिग्मेलियन मिथ। एक्चुअल स्टोरी क्या है? ग्रीक स्टोरी, एक आर्टिस्ट था, एक स्टैचू आर्टिस्ट था, राइट? तो वो क्या करता था, वो एक स्कल्पचर बना रहा था, एंड व्हेन ही वाज डेवलपिंग दैट स्कल्पचर ही फेल इन लव विद दैट थिंग। वो एक आइडल बना रहा था, मूर्ति बना रहा था लड़की की, एंड देन व्हेन ही क्रिएटेड द ब्यूटीफुल आइडल, द स्कल्पचर ऑफ दैट वुमन, ही फेल इन लव, एंड देन his love was next level. So as that sculpture was dead, that idol was dead, so he tried to kill himself because he thought if he cannot win his love, he will kill himself. Then God comes, God gives life to that sculpture, that statue becomes alive. तो वो है पिग्मेलियन मिथ कि मूर्तिकार को मूर्ति से प्यार हो गया और फिर उसकी शादी वादी हो गई। This is a modern treatment of Pygmalion myth. So if they say what is the story by GB Shaw, it is the modern treatment या मॉडर्न स्टाइल पिग्मेलियन। सो इट इज नॉट द ओल्ड स्टोरी। अब देखो यहां क्या होता है, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट विद 2 or 3 नेम्स। वी हैव प्रोफेसर, वी हैव अ प्रोफेसर, प्रोफेसर हिगिंस, प्रोफेसर हिगिंस एंड हिज फ्रेंड कर्नल पिकरिंग। Colonel Pickering. So Professor Higgins is the professor of linguistics. He is the professor of language and he's a damn good professor. बहुत अच्छा प्रोफेसर है, बहुत अच्छा नॉलेज है इसको। He is the professor of linguistics. अब देखो Professor Higgins, he is very happy, very confident on his knowledge of language and linguistics. Colonel Pickering से बातचीत करता है and he says that I can change a person's personality by just changing the language of that person. अगर मैं अचानक से ग्रीक बोलने लग जाऊं, हिब्रू बोलने लग जाऊं, या अचानक से हाईली रिफाइंड लैंग्वेज या टपोरी लैंग्वेज बोलने लग जाऊं, the language you speak, it defines your personality. Remember Sapir-Whorf analysis, offline batch, क्लास में पढ़ाया था, Google Drive, you got that class, Sapir-Whorf analysis, आपके सबके साथ वो शेयर भी किया था मैंने। Your personality speaks for you, your personality speaks for your background. Sapir-Whorf, remember? याद है कि नहीं है? Edward Sapir, Benjamin Whorf, also called linguistic relativity, also called Whorfianism. और अगर याद नहीं है, this is what I'm saying. Revision. Put it in revision, right? So, they have a bet. ये शर्त लगाते हैं। He said, no, 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 this is not possible. You can't do it. ऐसे कोई थोड़ी कर सकता है लैंग्वेज से किसी को अंग्रेज बना दे। He said, let's have a bet. लगा ले भाई 100 की। They have a bet. शर्त लग गई। अब क्या होता है? Colonel Pickering and Professor Higgins, they have a bet, and then time passes, things are ignored, forgotten. One day, Professor Higgins finds a girl, Eliza Doolittle. Eliza Doolittle. He finds the girl Eliza Doolittle. Now, who is Eliza Doolittle? She is a flower selling girl and she has a dialect, Cockney dialect. ये एक सड़क पे फूल बेचने वाली गर्ल है, flower selling girl. And what is her language? Flower selling girl. Cockney dialect. Means uncivilized language, not refined language. सड़क पे लोग कैसे बोलते हैं, बाओ लेना लेना, सस्ते का माल सस्ते में, right? Sarojini you go. If you go to Sarojini, if you're in Delhi, you get a chance, go to Sarojini. ₹50, ₹50, ₹50. You go to Sarojini, they'll say, गिर गया, क्या गिर गया? Rate गिर गया. So she does the same thing. Flower selling girl with no language, hi-fi language, no refined language. Professor Higgins says, come with me, chalo. She says, where are you taking me? He says, come with me, I'll give you money. You want money? I'll give you money. Come with me. She doesn't want to come, but professor forces her. Force करता है that come, I'll give you money. Good. चलो मेरे साथ. Somehow, she is taken home. Eliza Doolittle now is here with Professor Higgins. Professor Higgins, Eliza's father comes to rescue the girl. Professor Higgins says that you drunkard man, why did you come to rescue her? I will teach her. I will make her a duchess. I'll make her a good girl with the proper English language. I'm going to teach her. And you want money for drinks? Take money. Father takes money. Father goes back. Now, Eliza Doolittle lives with Professor Higgins. Professor Higgins starts a training. अब उसकी class start हो जाती है. Now, this is a training session. And what kind of training session is this? Linguistic training, the change of language. He teaches her language, words, vocab, and पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट, जिसके लोग पैसे लेते हैं. क्या आपको पता है दिल्ली में अगर आप हाई फाई लोगों से मिलोगे तो पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट के पैसे लिए जाते हैं. काउंसलिंग सेशंस जो मैं आपको व्हाट्सएप पे रिप्लाई करता हूँ, व्हाट टू डू आफ्टर नेट, हाउ टू गो फॉर पीएचडी एंड ऑल, यहाँ पे 10-10 हज़ार रुपए ले जाते हैं काउंसलिंग सेशन. मेरा एक फ्रेंड है, ही टोल्ड मी कि उसके बच्चे को 10th के बाद क्या करना चाहिए, व्हाट दैट किड शुड डू आफ्टर 10th. somebody is charging 10,000 for one session. 1 hour session, 10,000, because that person is a big man. I said, Arey yaar, I'll connect your kid with Delhi University professor. Don't worry, don't pay this much. But imagine, personality development. What are the concepts of personality development? Etiquettes, how you walk, standing tall, backbone को नहीं मोड़ना है, नाखून नहीं खाने हैं, पैर नहीं हिलाना है, बात पे, and grooming and all. One of the best thing about personality development is grooming, eye contact. All of these things are the, the signs of champions. All these things start. She doesn't like it. She wants to fight back. She resists. She tries her best to get rid of it, but it doesn't happen. Professor Higgins is so professional with his work, with his homework, that if Elijah doesn't complete her homework, he doesn't give her food. Imagine, I have my hostels. You guys are in my hostel. I teach you in the day and I tell you that the dinner will be given only if you complete my homework. Seems cruel, right? But seriously, if I do that, now you will all crack JRF. Because if I have taught, then I can't believe you have not revised it. मुझे लगता है अगर मैंने पढ़ा दिया ना, याद होना चाहिए बस. तो मैं तो seriously, every morning I'll come with a breakfast time. Come on. Just answer me the question. If you don't answer me, no breakfast. So either you will lose weight, या तो weight ही कम हो जाएगा. You're crying. तूने कब से खाना नहीं खाया? 3 दिन से खाना नहीं खाया. तूने अरे 1 हफ्ते से खाना नहीं खाया. Or you will be JRF. या फिर अब JRF हो गए. So he does this to her. ये बंदा उसको खाना वाना नहीं देता है. कहता है चुपचाप रहे. Finally, she is learning, she is going through things, and one day after many months, after 6 months, there is a party scene. Colonel Pickering meets Higgins. Colonel Pickering, his friend, meets Professor Higgins. Colonel Pickering is happy. He is blushing. ये blush मार रहा होता है, खुश हो रहा होता है. He is blushing. Why is blushing? He says, "Arey, Dr. Higgins, Professor Higgins, I had some good time with a lady. I flirted. There is a duchess, and you know what? That duchess responded me." ये बड़ा खुश होता है. He is very happy. ये कह रहा भाई आज एक duchess से, queen से, princess से flirt करके आया तेरा भाई. And she has responded me. और उसने मुझे respond किया, ऐसे ढंग से बातचीत की है. That duchess has responded. Professor Higgins says, "Great, give me my money now." I have won the bet. He says, what? He says, yes, that Duchess is Eliza Doolittle. मैंने अपनी शर्त जीत ली. A flower selling girl, I converted her from a roadside girl to a duchess, a princess. I have proved this thing that I have won. I have won the bet. Now, अब मुझे मेरा पैसा मिलना चाहिए. I deserve it. Colonel Pickering accepts his defeat. Professor Higgins has won. The party ends in midnight. They return. When they come home, Higgins tells Eliza that go back. You are allowed to go. He says go. Free. जा सिमरन अपनी जिंदगी जी ले. He says go. Free to go. She says, excuse me, where will I go now? I am not the same flower selling girl with Cockney dialect. I cannot go back to same thing. You know, this is post-colonial. You came, you saw, you conquered, you changed me like you. Now you're leaving me. She says, no, where would I go? I speak like a duchess, I behave like a duchess, but I don't have money like a duchess. कहाँ जाऊँ मैं? तुमने मेरी भाषा चेंज कर दी, तुमने मेरी पर्सनैलिटी चेंज कर दी, बट मैं जाऊँ कहाँ? She says, there is no world. I am not the same Eliza Doolittle. You changed me. You created me against my own wish. For your sake, now marry me. अब मुझसे शादी करो, क्योंकि तुमने मुझे बनाया है. I belong to you. She says, marry me. And this is the time where Professor Higgins denies to marry. He says, नहीं मैं शादी नहीं कर सकता. I can't marry you. मैं शादी नहीं कर सकता. This is the modern version of Pygmalion, creator not falling in love with creation. Creation says, marry me. Take me as a responsibility. Then they fight. वो उसको जूता भी फेंकती है. She hurls her sandal on him. उसको मारती भी है सैंडल से. Professor Higgins is a philosopher. They don't get married. Then he has some attendant, some stenographer. That stenographer gets married to her and the story ends. This was my fair lady. थोड़ा बहुत बॉलीवुड की तमाशा मूवी इस पे थोड़ा सा कनेक्टेड है. That's my fair lady, my Pygmalion, one of the best story. Please do not forget the name of Eliza Doolittle, Professor Higgins. All of these things are very important. The next story is Arms and the Man. G.B. Shaw's satire on war. It is a satire. Satire on war. Here we have a female heroine, G.B. Shaw's most beautiful heroine, Raina Petkov. Please remember her name. Raina Petkov, G.B. Shaw's most beautiful heroine. Raina Petkov is the daughter of an army officer and she is engaged to some Major Sergius. इसकी कोई engagement हो रखी है Major Sergius से. Engaged to Major Sergius. Now see what happens here. She is in her room. One day, she is in her room and she feels the presence that there is somebody in the room hidden. When she finds out there is a hidden man in the room and she says, who are you? He says, don't shout, I'll shoot you, I'll kill you. Keep mum. He closes her mouth like this, he shuts her up like this, but then he says that I can release you if you promise me not to shout. She says, yes, I'll not shout. He releases her. Then he says, she says, do you know who am I? My father is an army officer and you seem to be the enemy army boy from enemy army. Then the boy, that man, he introduces himself. He says, my name is Bluntschli. He says, my name is Bluntschli. And yes, I am from your enemy army. I'm looking for a safe place, a shelter. I entered in your room and I'm hungry. Give me some food. She says, I have no food. He says, give me anything. And then she gives him chocolate and cream. Bluntschli eats chocolate and cream. Raina Petkov doesn't believe that a soldier who is a strong man, a sturdy man, can love chocolate and cream. She laughs at him and calls him chocolate cream soldier. So please remember in which book we have a concept of chocolate cream soldier. ये पेपर में क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा. Chocolate cream soldier कौन है? This is Bluntschli. Bluntschli is the chocolate cream soldier. Underline this thing. What is this reference? The reference is that soldiers are being tough, sturdy. They are considered like that. But when Rena looks at him, that he's just a boy eating chocolates. He loves it. It is actually satire on war. We do not think about the soldiers that they are also human beings. They have likes and dislikes. So, chocolate cream soldier, Bluntschli, he is in the room of Reina Petkov. She is engaged to this man, fiance hai. Now they start talking. She questions that why are you fighting against our nation? He says, I am unemployed. मेरे पास नौकरी नहीं है. He says, unemployed हूं मैं, नौकरी नहीं है. That's why I am fighting. She says, you don't have patriotism, you don't have love for your country. He says, it's not even my country. वो कह रहा है मेरा country है ही नहीं. She says, you are not from enemy country. He says, I am from some another country. I am unemployed. They wanted soldiers, they were recruiting, they were giving good salary, I joined them. Point is, not all the wars are fought for patriotism. Some wars are fought for money, or major wars. When they talk, she becomes comfortable. While conversation, he looks at a photo. Bluntschli looks at a photo and says, who is this stupid man? Photo देख के बोलता है, who is this idiot? Reina Petkov says, excuse me, he is my fiance. How can you say that? He says, this man is a coward man, a stupid man. Who made him a major? He doesn't even know how to fight back. He endangered all his soldiers. We would have shot everyone. We ran out of ammunition. हमारी गोलियां खत्म हो गई वरना हम इसके सारे बंदे मार देते. इससे बड़ा बेवकूफ इडियट मैंने देखा नहीं आज तक. Reina doesn't like it. उसे गुस्सा आता है. Then she says, okay, stay hidden. I'm coming. Reina Petkov goes down and finds Major Sergius. Major Sergius has returned from war. He is telling everyone about the heroic story, the war glamour, war heroism. वो सबको बता रहा है कि आज मैंने कैसे दुश्मनों का सफाया किया. How I fought bravely. But Reina knows the another version, so Reina doesn't like it. And then when Reina goes away, he starts flirting with the maid servant Luca. He starts flirting with maid Luca. In short, they are all pretentious faking. Then the story goes on. For Reina's father comes, they find Bluntschli, they talk, and Reina beautifully gets married to Bluntschli. She finds Bluntschli more charming. This is a beautiful story. Reina Petkov at the end is with Bluntschli. Major Sergius, just a fool, blabbering about his success and all. This is a satire on the war, arms and the man. Please remember, don't forget this thing. Then comes Man and Superman. There are two important points in this book. You don't have to read the complete story. Complete story नहीं पढ़नी है. The theory of life force theory. ये आपको याद रखना. This comes in Man and Superman. Life force theory is that life can force you to do anything. Life can force you to be a Superman. The only difference between man and Superman is that man has created its own limits. The difference between man and Superman is that man has created his own limits. Think about this. Socho. If somebody says, can you jump from 20 feet? You'll say, no. Knees will be broken. I might get hurt. But if a tiger is chasing you, a big tiger, and you have to jump from 20 feet, will you even think about it? You'll say, no, I'll jump. Yeah, even I will jump. Right? It means you could have jumped earlier also. आप पहले भी कूद सकते थे. But you did not have that motivation to challenge your limits. I take this example of life force in my class, telling my students how many hours you can study. Say some says 8 hours, 7 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. But then I say, what if I have a gun, automatic gun? I point it at your brain, at your mind. Sorry, not brain, headshot. सर पे गन लगा दी, headshot. And then I say, the moment you stop reading, studying, I'll shoot. For how many hours you can study? 24 hours, right? More than 24 hours. There is a movie on a soldier. He steps on a landmine by mistake and stands 72 hours just to save his life. 72 hours, he's drowsing, is this? He's still standing. Why? How many of you can just stand 72 hours? Nobody. But that man does. A real story. In short, the moment life forces you to do something, you do that. So life can force you to be a Superman, then why don't you be a Superman now? अगर कोई सर पे बंदूक लगाएगा तो 20 घंटा पढ़ सकते हो तो अभी पढ़ लो. थोड़ी देर में एग्जाम है, अभी पढ़ लो. This is life force theory. Then this story has 3 acts. The third act of this story is called Don Juan in Hell. This is also a question of exam, that what is the name of the third act. Other 2 acts the names are not given, but the third act there is a name given, Don Juan in Hell. So ये याद रखना, ये question आ चुका है पेपर में. This has been asked that in which book of J.B. Shaw we have a third act called Don Juan in Hell. So this is the important reference. No need to read the story of man and Superman, but don't forget the theory of life force. Life can make you do anything. Then we have Candida. The another concept we have is coming from Candida. I have used Candida when I was teaching you dialogism. Candida is the name of the woman, name of her husband, Mr. Morrill, and there is a boy, a stenographer who works for them. He falls in love with Candida, Eugene Marchbank. Eugene Marchbank. Eugene Marchbank and Mr. Morrill. Mr. Morrill is husband. He is husband. He is lover. They start a debate. अब एक debate start हो जाती है. Now when they are having a debate, lover says that I deserve your wife. I want to be with her. I want to be married to her. Husband says, how can you marry my wife? I can't allow you. How can you be with my wife? I can't leave you. A debate between husband and lover over Candida. Husband says, I gave her social safety, economic, I help her with social security, economic security. I gave her confidence. I have introduced her to society. She has my name. She is protected. So I have protected her from all sides and I am working hard to protect her future, her life. He said, no, you are just working hard for yourself. And your wife, you are using your wife as an attendant, as a secretary. Lover says, I will love her. I will praise her beauty. What was the last time you praised her? What was the last time you gave her a rose? I will take care of her. Lover has lover's point. Husband has husband's point. The debate goes deep. Even the readers get confused with whom they have to go. And this is the chance they say, okay, let Candida decide. So they say, let the wife decide, let the girl decide Candida. Candida chooses her. I'm sure आप क्या बोल रहे हो? You're saying, sir, Candida must be choosing her husband because you all are South Asians, coming from Asian mindset. Husband is husband, married, social responsibility, सात फेरे, marriage and nikah and all these things, right? भला है, बुरा है, जैसा भी है, मेरा पति मेरा देवता है, right? The Bollywood song cliche. भला है, बुरा है, जैसा भी है. She chooses her husband. Yes, she chooses her husband. But not because she's a South Asian woman or married or with some cultural practices and all. No. She says, my husband is weak without me. He is nobody. He is nothing. And when I will be with my lover is younger than me. Soon I will get old. He will find new girls. I will be old and he will be still charming. He will have new girls. But my husband, he has no options. I am more confident with my husband. I control him. He's nothing without me. If I'm not there, he cannot even find anything, any dress and all. With him, I find my identity in a better way. So being a Western girl, she's choosing herself over everything. She says, मुझे मेरा husband चाहिए, कमजोर husband, क्योंकि वो मेरे बिना कुछ है ही नहीं. So I find myself. Now, this is the answer by Candida. Please remember this thing. Then the next one we have is Mrs. Warren's profession. Mrs. Warren's profession. All you have to remember is it deals with prostitution. Prostitution से deal करता है, where Mrs. Warren, Kitty Warren, her name is Kitty Warren. Her daughter finds out that my mother is running a brothel, and she hates her mother, Kitty Warren. But then later she finds out that my mother did all these things to save my life, and that's why she has sent me away so that I am protected. The point is that in prostitution, it is the society which is more to be blamed. The role of society is to be questioned, not the women. So इसमें याद रखना कि social problem है, social problem को सवाल के थ्रू पूछा गया है. Then there is apple cart, a political satire. Apple cart is a political satire, minor book, many years, no question. Political satire. So just remember the role of King Magnus and the question of democracy. This book is an attack on democracy. Democracy का मजाक उड़ाया हुआ है. Because G.B. Shaw believed in this thing that democracy is actually a failure. Democracy is talked about in the books only, but in the given reality, democracy doesn't work, right? So please remember this thing. What if there are 10 druggists and one person wants to be sober? So we say vote. If there are 10 druggists and the 11th person says, I want to be sober, I don't want to do drugs. So democracy will say, let's have a vote. And if the 10 druggists win with a majority, so will they force the 11th to do the drugs? So that is not democracy, that is majoritarianism. Real democracy is that these 10 people never force that one. But this is not the reality. This is not exactly the reality. It's majoritarianism. So that's what he says. He says democracy is everywhere a failure in the world. So this was G.B. Shaw. He has written a lot और बहुत सारे लिखे इसने. बहुत सारी कहानियां हैं. मेजर बारबरा है या सीजर इन इजिप्ट है. बहुत सारी कहानियां हैं. But please remember this thing, and I'll add one more book. एक book मैं और add कर देता हूँ. Heartbreak House. This has been asked once in exam. ये भी एक बार आप एक लिख ही लो. Heartbreak House. Not very important, just this much. This is written in Russian style. इसमें खुद उसने G.B. Shaw ने बोला है कि it is a fantasia written in Russian manner. G.B. Shaw himself said it is a fantasia written in Russian manner. This has been asked in exam once. This is G.B. Shaw, very important. I'm planning a big lecture with other some pending things and all those small topics. We are going to start with short videos. So stay tuned for rapid fire, regular rapid fire, and I'll suggest you that make sure you put a lot of time to revise. Whatever you have studied is more important than what you're going to study. So जितना कॉपी में आ गया, जितना सामने आ चुका है, रिवाइज करो. 7 to 8 hours revision. इस समय do not think what is new to be read, what is new to be learned, what is new to be copied, what all I am missing. ये मत सोचो what I am missing. Because if suppose you think you are missing some 2 units, there are chances you don't get question from those units. What you have done in your notebooks, उसे याद करो. Think about other things once you are done with everything. So please, this is the reality, this is human nature. Whatever we have on our plate, it looks less. It's human nature. The things on the other's plate looks better. It's human nature. But here the smart people understand this, that whatever is on my plate, I have to eat it first, then I have to think about other things. So mug up, read, revise, because this is the last time. That's what I'm telling you to mug up, right? So let's go for it. I'll see you in the next lecture. Stay tuned. Those who are finding issues in preparation, I suggest you to go for notes material. You can order notes material so that you have plenty of books to be read. So may God bless you. See you all. Take care. Thank you.